Every few days, it seems we witness someone toss aside their entire life's achievements, driven by the insatiable urge to satisfy their darkest impulses with money and influence. Vince McMahon, the genius who acquired his father's wrestling promotion, transformed it into the colossal empire we now recognize as WWE. Countless iconic characters, gripping storylines, legendary matches, and shocking moments can be traced back to Vince's twisted imagination. He not only managed the company, but also embodied the ultimate villain, portraying a ruthless businessman on screen. However, it soon became clear that this persona was not merely an act. Vince's malevolence extended far beyond the camera. Disturbing allegations have surfaced, revealing his involvement in heinous acts, including brutal assaults, cover-ups of crimes, and even human trafficking. These shocking revelations are among the many reasons he has resigned as CEO of WWE. Today, we will delve into the disintegration of Vince McMahon's life and career, highlighting the glaring warning signs we overlooked along the way.
His children are going to be kidnapped. His wife, she's going to be raped by a motorcycle gang right in front of The Undertaker.
The WWF was airing nationally on Monday nights on the USA Network, giving the brand significant exposure across the country. However, Vince wanted more. He launched a comprehensive invasion strategy to eliminate competitors city by city. Later that year, the WWF made its debut on WCPO9 in Cincinnati, a territory known for Georgia Championship Wrestling. Following that, the WWF moved into World Championship Wrestling territory in Dayton, Ohio, acquiring exclusive rights from WKF-22 to replace the WCW broadcast with its own. Vince systematically entered cities dominated by other promotions, purchasing their TV time slots to showcase WWF. By 1988, Vince McMahon had completely dismantled the territory system. The WWF emerged as the largest and most prominent national wrestling promotion, allowing Vince to easily recruit top talent throughout the 90s. The World Wrestling Federation became the stage for rising stars like The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker, Mick Foley, Triple H, and the Hardy Boys. It appeared that Vince's only rival was himself. They were filling stadiums across the nation and airing their events weekly on a national scale. However, the pressure to maintain their top position was unprecedented. The Hell in a Cell match, featuring a 16-foot steel cage designed for dramatic falls, became one of the most thrilling spectacles in wrestling. Regardless of its scripted nature, the wrestlers risked their bodies and lives for our entertainment and for Vince's financial gain. In 1999, it was inevitable that one of the daring stunts would lead to tragedy. Owen Hart, performing as the Blue Blazer, fell from a height of 90 feet during a failed entrance stunt intended to have him soar over the audience and into the ring. Following the fall, he sustained internal injuries and tragically died at the stadium. His death was announced during the broadcast, yet Vince insisted that the show must continue, and they carried on with the event as if this horrific incident had not taken place.
No, I resent your tone, lady, okay? This was a tragic accident. It's a tragic accident. Don't try and put yourself in the spotlight here, okay?
In a 2001 interview with Playboy, Vince reaffirmed his choice to proceed with the show. When questioned about whether he would still go ahead with the event if given a second chance, he replied, "I just guessed that it was what Owen would want." When pressed further, asking if he would make the same decision again, Vince said, "I think so." He didn't merely act as a cold-hearted businessman. That was his true nature, and he believed it was the correct route to achieving success. Vince McMahon emerged victorious in the Monday Night Wars, acquiring WCW on March 23, 2001. He triumphed over his long-standing competitor, Ted Turner, decisively overcoming his adversaries. Vince's dominance in the industry was unparalleled. The Attitude Era had concluded, paving the way for ruthless aggression. The 2000s are key to understanding Vince, his lasting impact, and the product that exists today. A lot of weird angles come from 2002 to 2008. These angles that pop up for him are great insight into the weird mind of Vince McMahon. Horrible treatment of female talent, power fantasies, humiliation fetish, and incest.
One of my storyline ideas was that Stephanie gets pregnant. I think I was the one who impregnated her, my character. I think it was something like that.
Vince loves putting himself in angles where he can perv on women. Vince frequently incorporated his daughter Stephanie into his darker storylines. Despite this, she still kissed him on the lips. Eventually, Vince found a woman who could have elevate his twisted narratives, Trish Stratus. Trish portrayed a character who slept with the boss to climb the corporate ladder. At one point, they scripted a storyline where Vince's real wife, Linda, was so unwell that she required constant nursing care and was heavily medicated. He then showcased her in front of the audience, making out with Trish right in front of his wife. Vince was ruthless towards Linda, even writing a scene where their children slapped her to promote a storyline. Although Trish was doing everything possible to succeed in the company, it wasn't long before she faced humiliation herself. He once stripped her in the ring and forced her to bark like a dog. He even attempted to induct her into the Kiss My Ass Club, but The Rock intervened to save her. His dark past was bound to resurface eventually. In 2022, Vince McMahon agreed to pay over $12 million to 4 women connected to WWE over a span of 16 years. Reports suggest these women signed agreements preventing them from discussing their interactions with McMahon. Among the settlements was a $7.5 million deal with a former wrestler who claimed McMahon coerced her into performing oral sex, subsequently demoting her and refusing to renew her contract in 2005 after she resisted further advances. This scandal prompted McMahon to resign as CEO, but in January 2024, he faced another lawsuit filled with evidence that would reveal his true character to the world. Janelle Grant, a former WWE employee, has accused Vince McMahon of abuse, sexual exploitation, and humiliation during his decade-long tenure as chief executive. Grant claims that McMahon enticed her with promises of career growth, but then exploited her by trafficking her to other men within the organization. She first encountered McMahon in March 2019 through a manager in her apartment complex, where he also resided. After the death of her parents, she was looking for work. McMahon offered her a position at WWE and lavished her with gifts, but their meetings took a troubling turn when he approached her in his underwear and pressured her into sexual acts. When McMahon insisted on a physical relationship in exchange for the long-promised job at WWE, Grant felt trapped, believing she had to comply with his demands or risk losing everything. In June 2019, she started as an administrative coordinator in WWE's legal department. Following her hiring, McMahon's sexual demands escalated, and he began sharing explicit photos and videos of her with other WWE employees and executives. Despite her attempts to express her discomfort and end the sexual relationship, she realized that McMahon expected it to continue as part of her job. By March 2020, he was sharing explicit images and videos of her, including pornographic content he had recorded with other men, both within and outside the company. She even attempted to communicate her disapproval of an associate named Johnny, also known as John Laurinaitis, receiving such pictures. The lawsuit elaborates on numerous specific instances where Vince allegedly abused his authority to manipulate and exploit her sexually. It details how he pressured her into submitting to him and his associates, whether by catering to executives during work hours or ensuring WWE superstars were pleased to keep them from departing the company. As one example of McMahon's extreme depravity, on May 9th, 2020, he defecated on Miss Grant during a threesome, and then commanded her to continue pleasuring his friend with feces in her hair and running down her back. McMahon and his friend actively resumed the threesome, which lasted over an hour and a half, while Miss Grant remained covered in McMahon's filth. Vince is quoted in the lawsuit for texting her, "I want to drive you lower and lower, so low that you beg me to sell you." In early 2022, Vince claimed that his wife Linda discovered his relationship with Janelle and threatened to divorce him. To protect his marriage and avoid public issues, he cut off all contact with her. He insisted that she sign a non-disclosure agreement, promising to pay her $3 million to keep their relationship secret. However, after an anonymous tip in 2022 led to a board investigation and a multi-million-dollar payout to several women, Vince stopped payments to Janelle after the first $1 million. He has strongly denied any wrongdoing, stating that he and Janelle had a consensual relationship that lasted just under 3 years, ending in early 2022. He mentioned that Janelle sent him explicit photos and messages expressing her love, along with requests for clothes and gifts. Vince's lawyer expressed confidence that the evidence will show Janelle's claims are false and that her complaint is a fabricated story from a bitter ex-girlfriend. In July 2023, federal prosecutors executed a search warrant on Vince's phone and issued a grand jury subpoena. It appears that for the past year, they have been building a case against him. Recently, they asked Janelle if she would pause her case while they continue their investigation, and she agreed. This suggests that the feds could soon reveal years of evidence that might confirm the negative image he has portrayed on television for the last 35 years.